So you have subscribers coming into your OnlyFans models accounts, but once they come in, they stop spending money and turn off their rebill. You're clueless about trying to get them to actually spend more money inside of the model's OnlyFans account. And that's why in this video, we will break down my 7-figure agency's chatting operations that allow us to turn low spending subscribers into high spending subscribers who are willing to spend over $10,000 plus inside of our OnlyFans model accounts. So why should you listen to me? Well, my name is Ethan Bayless, and for the past 5 years, I've been running one of the leading OnlyFans management agencies based in UK, Allrist. And we manage accounts that are doing over $100,000 every single month consistently. And we have perfected the back-end operations that need to take place in order for that to happen. So in this video, we are going to cover 1. The importance of chatting. 2. How to find high quality chatters. 3. How to train chatters. And then 4. How to manage chatters. So let's get into the actual video itself. So I've got this document here and I'm just going to be walking you through the OnlyFans chatting operations of a 7-figure agency. So in today's video, I'm going to break down our chatting operations that we have in place at my agency, Allrist. Go on Google, type in Allrist, you can find our agency in order to run at 7 figures a year with ease. So first, let's go over the importance of good chatting. So as you can see, this was before on one of our clients' accounts. And the account, as you can see, from January the 1st to April the 30th, 2023, as you can see, $15,000, $541 was made in the account from messages. This doesn't include subscriptions, this doesn't include tips, doesn't include posts, just messages, $15,000 during this period. And this is what our client was doing before working with us. Now, as you can see here, from January the 1st to April the 30th, 2024, we did $90,351 inside the account. So over here, we're literally some days making barely any money. Some days they were making a few $100s. In fact, most days looks like they're making a few $100, $50, nothing much, with a peak of up to $900. And there was 2 peaks of $900 over this period. Compared to when we've taken over the chatting operation, you can see that on average, we're generating around about $1,000 every single day in the account, with peaks up to $2,000 and more peaks. So here's 2 peaks up to $1,000 or $900. And here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got loads of peaks going up to $2,000. So as you can see, the consistency is there, the growth is there, and it's all because of chatting that this model was able to go from $15,000 over that 4-month period to $90,000 over a 4-month period. So chatting is the heartbeat of a successful OnlyFans agency, as it accounts for 80% of the model's total revenue. Now, bear in mind, this account was making lots more in subscriptions, but it should be 80% of the model's total revenue. And that was the issue before. They had tens of thousands coming in from just subscriptions alone, but only $15,000 being generated from messages. And what you should be looking for is at least a 1 to 5 sub to chatting ratio. That means that every $1 you generate through subscriptions, you should be generating at least $5 from that subscriber in chatting, in spending on messages. Okay, so that's a quick way to see whether your accounts are performing, that you're managing, and what you should be striving for and the goals that you should be setting when working with OnlyFans clients. Okay, so because of this, chatting is the biggest quick win that you could possibly get. By putting in a chatter to monitor these chats that are coming through and to sell a lot better, you can literally double or even triple the earnings overnight by just optimizing how the fans are engaged, how they're upsold and retained. By literally having someone there selling content, that's already going to be a massive boost. Having the person being able to speak proficient English, again, that's helpful. Having the chatter know on the sort of content they need to sell, having them trained on how to handle certain scenarios, how to overcome objections when trying to sell content. It's just a money printing machine. And mastering chatting isn't optional. It's foundational of a high profit, scalable OnlyFans business. If you don't crack the code when it comes to chatting, You will always be forever stuck with models accounts which are underperforming. You need to master chatting. It's non-negotiable. If you want to be successful within this OnlyFans business, you need to be successful with chatting. And just as a heads up, if you're interested in actually launching your OnlyFans management agency in less than 2 hours the right way, then there's a link below in the description which you can then click on. And once you click on it, you'll get inside this free community. We have over 1,200 members. We have people absolutely crushing it, signing their first models. More people signing their first models. Lots of introductions. First month, people making money with OnlyFans management. New model again. Getting people to set up their agency the right way is really valuable, and we have a whole section which is the OFM Launchpad, which covers A to Z on how to set up. So we give you OFM profit projection sheet, the offer creation, the website template, social media creation, walkthroughs of accounts that we are managing. We give you the OFM mini course as well, going through absolutely everything you need to understand to get started with your OnlyFans management agency and start making your first $1,000 a month from it by setting up the foundations of your agency and signing your first high ticket OnlyFans model. Okay, so the link for this will be down below in the description. So how can we find high quality chatters? So if you don't already know, we don't do this ourselves. I'm not sitting here in all of our accounts that we manage chatting to these subscribers myself. One, I wouldn't have the time for it, just physically wouldn't be able to do that. And two, we want to apply leverage. So applying leverage in terms of hiring a chatter to go ahead in these accounts and basically just print money for us. So where can you find these chatters who will log into the OnlyFans account and just sell content? Well, you can find them on platforms like Fiverr, Upwork, OnlineJobs.ph, and some webmaster forums, okay? So you're going to experience some issues with this because most of the time, the above platforms, you need to be very careful about how you're wording the job application to find a chatter. Because if you mention the keyword OnlyFans, the job post will get automatically banned from the majority of these platforms, okay? So you'll also likely find inexperienced chatters, so chatters which don't actually have experience, they're just looking for a job, and people from Philippines, Colombia just looking for a job, or you'll find a chatter who does have experience, but likely they're poor quality chatter, and it's going to require a ton of training to see whether they can even be able to perform at this level inside of OnlyFans accounts, okay? So we personally source our chatters from the biggest OnlyFans chatter hub in the world. And that is a Facebook group called OnlyFans Chatter Club. So I encourage you can go on Facebook. You can search this in Facebook groups. And you're going to see this that comes up. It has 8,200 members inside. And it's a community that's dedicated purely towards finding the top chatter talent. And this is a group that we own. So at my consulting program, OnlyFans Millions, where we help people start and launch and scale OnlyFans management agencies to 50K a month within 90 days or less, we built this as a resource, one for my own personal agency, so we could find top tier talent for chatters, and then two, to basically just control the chatting within the industry. We are the industry leaders when it comes to chatting. And by building this group, we have pre-trained chatters, and then we can select the best chatters to go into model accounts. And we have over 8,000 members all over the world. We have, thousands upon thousands of member requests as well. And they are all people who are wanting to join this group here, but we're very selective about the people who we do bring in, making sure that they do want to become a really good chatter. And out of those 8,000 members, they're all people who are interested in chatting for OnlyFans accounts. And this is a resource we give our mentorship clients access to in order to source the best chatters via a built-in chatter ticket system that we have inside of the program. So for the members of our consulting, they can literally go ahead, create a ticket request the chatter, and within 24 hours, we'll source that chatter for them and plug and play it into the model's account and give them all the resources that they need. Some resources we're going to talk about in this video and some resources beyond this video, because this is just free training on YouTube. So let's go over how to train a chatter. So the training starts before you even have the chatter inside of an OnlyFans model account. And we call this pre-training. So pre-training chatters is crucial because it's going to ensure they understand the fundamentals of persuasive messaging, fan psychology, and platform best practices before handling these accounts. because if you don't properly train your chatter, they're going to struggle with engaging subscribers, leading to lost revenue inside the account and ultimately dissatisfied models. And the models are just going to end up leaving your agency because you're not delivering a good job. By far, we work with some big ticket models, and we even recruit models who are already doing like 30K a month. At that point, they've already worked with some agencies in the past. And the number one issue that they always bring up is that the chatters that the agency had were terrible. They either couldn't speak English very well, they didn't really understand what they were doing. Just all these issues that come about from having a terrible chatter inside of the model's account. And a well-trained chatter can immediately start generating results, maintaining high conversion rates, and maximizing the retention from day one. So let's go over this little flowchart of chatter pre-training, and I'm just going to zoom into this for you here. So under chatter pre-training, we have an English fluency test. So you want to make sure that they are fluent in English so they can understand the nuances of some conversations, and they can reply without looking like a robot, without looking illiterate, and by being able to actually understand what the person is saying and what the person is hinting at. Because the thing is, with chatting inside OnlyFans accounts, it's a very delicate process. And if you slip up by having a chatter who doesn't properly understand the English language and they're speaking to English people, you can usually pick up upon when someone doesn't speak fluent English. And I'm sure you've experienced this if you've messaged people who aren't English. You can more or less tell that they aren't fluent in the language. So what we want to have is we want to have people who are fluent in the English language inside of these accounts. And that's one problem that's ticked off. We're not going to have people who can't even speak English inside the account. We then have niche identification training. So all of these OnlyFans accounts have a different niche. So they have a different sort of subscriber that they're appealing to, and the subscriber has different fantasies, has different turn-ons, and the niche is what the model brand is representing to the subscriber. So we want to make sure that the chat is going in, doing their due diligence about the niche. So for example, if you're working with a dominant model, you don't want a chat who goes in there and starts talking in submissive language, calling them pet names which are related to the submissive niche, because that's going to be instant incongruency within the account. And you want to make sure everything is congruent so that you keep up with the niche, and they'll be able to tell if it's just a different niche to what they paid for. When they subscribe to a particular niche, and if that niche switches up in the chatting, then you're off on the wrong foot from the get-go. We also have role playing, so role playing with chatters to make sure that they are properly handling the accounts and the chats that are taking place, and they can maintain that excitement and sell content. We then have vault organization. So on OnlyFans, there is a vault. Within the vault, you have management. So you can categorize stuff, you can add tags to stuff. There's lots of different features that you can do with the vault for organization. So you make sure they understand how to organize a vault. You then have chatting scenarios. So under chatting scenarios, it's different sort of objections that the chatter may have to deal with. So maybe a subscriber saying they don't really have enough money to pay for a bit of content, how to handle those sort of situations. If you have a subscriber which is giving the model a little bit of grief or harassing the model, how to deal with those situations. If you have subscribers who know the model in person, there's a different way you need to go about handling those particular chats. So dealing with these scenarios so they know what to do inside of the account. They don't slip up, because each slip up is going to be a dent in your agency's armor, which is going to make your model no longer see you as an authority. And the more little dents in your armor that you get over the period, 1 or 2 or 3 is fine. It's typical with most agencies. You're going to experience a few issues. But if you're getting 1 to 3 issues within the first month of working with a model, then the model's just going to jump ship straight away because you're not doing your due diligence and the chatters are just inexperienced. And then you have NLP training. So NLP stands for Neurolinguistic Programming, which is a concept which has been taught throughout psychology, and it's basically how you can use psychological hacks to deepen relationships with subscribers. And the deeper the relationship, typically the more money the subscriber will spend. Okay, so we have advanced training on that. We have sex and set training, so building out pre-made sets of content that the model has created and sends over to us so we can sell that content immediately to subscribers when they're asking for content, rather than having to go to the model each time and asking them to create content live. We then have customs handling, so you're going to get custom content requests, which you can sell for $100 a pop, $200 a pop, and how to deal with those custom content requests. How to make sure that we get the content approved by the model. You don't want to be approving all the custom content requests. Then you go to the model, say, can you create this content? She said, I'm not comfortable creating this content. Again, this is stuff that you need to cover within the pre-training. Then we have mass pay-per-view training. So sending out mass pay-per-views, which is essentially an image with a caption, which you can send out to all of the OnlyFans subscribers at once. So how to do that properly, and how to do all the reporting of that, how to ensure that you're not sending duplicate content to subscribers. And then you have wolf feed training, so how to actually manage the wolf feed. So when people go to OnlyFans, they scroll down, typically they have a wolf feed similar to most social medias of the accounts that they are subscribed to. And we're constantly trying to rehook those subscribers into going to the DMs, because they're most likely they're DMing a lot of models, and we want to make sure that we stay top of mind and we get them DMing our models that we manage. Okay, so as you can see, there's a lot to it, and this is why I say that you need to make sure that you're investing in good quality chatting, because to do this yourself, we've been running my agency for nearly 5 years at this point. It's taken a long time to learn all of this stuff and to set up robust systems for it. So again, if you're looking to fast track the process, then I really do recommend going down the link in the description and booking in a call with myself, because that is just going to be a game changer. You have all this made for you, already done for you, and we source the chatting for you as well, so you don't need to worry about the pre-training at all. Okay, we then have chatter ongoing training. So ongoing training is essential to keep the chatters up to date with the evolving trends, new sales techniques, and shifting platform algorithms as well. So the OnlyFans space, what I can say, is highly competitive. There are tons of models out there. All of them are competing for the same subscribers. And what worked last month might not work today. And regular training ensures that the chatters are refining their skills, they adapt to fan behavior, and implement advanced strategies to increase the revenue. And it also helps maintain quality control, preventing complacency, and ensuring consistent high performance across all the accounts we manage. So the chatter ongoing training is very simple. At this point, the chat has gone through all of this. They know how to deal with certain stuff. However, with the ongoing training, what we like to use is a scorecard. So if you have more than one chatter, I recommend using a scorecard where at the end of each shift, they go ahead and they fill out a scorecard, and you have prizes that you can give to the best chatter who performed the best over the month. Also, if a chatter is consistently underperforming and isn't getting better, then it's going to be very clear based on the scorecard, and they're going to understand this. And each checkup call that you have with the actual chatter themselves, they're going to understand that they are bottom of the barrel in terms of the chatters. They're being out competed, and it's going to do a lot more to motivate them to not be the bottom of the scoreboard or the scorecard next time that they have to fill it out, or the next month. Okay, we then have end of day reports at the end of each day. So the end of the shift for the chatter, they go ahead and they send us a DM, which has an end of day report template, which they fill out. So we know exactly what models they're handling, how many DMs were sent, how many chats initiated, how many second sets they sold, how much revenue they captured. All of this stuff is really important. So we can just take a quick glance at our Slack community or Discord, whatever you like to use. They're very similar platforms, and we can look at how they're doing on a day-by-day basis, whether they're improving, whether they're going down. And you then have weekly check-ins. So lots of people think hiring a chatter is like a one-and-done thing. Boom, I place this chatter in there. That's completely out of mind, where that's not the case. You need to be a chatter manager. This is eventually something that you can outsource, which is what we've done. So I no longer have to be hopping on these calls myself and dealing with the chatters. We have a chatter manager who handles the chatting operations, doing these weekly check-ins. But on these weekly check-ins, you hop in with all of the chatters. If they have any particular questions about how to handle accounts, you can address it, and all the chatters are going to hear it. So it's just continuous training for them. And of course, going through like the DMs that they're sending, picking areas for improvement, and just making sure that they are doing a really, really good job. You also have sales tracking sheet. So a sales tracking sheet so you can see exactly how much money they made, and you can send it to them. Now, some people like to do, you can use like a tool like Inflow, which you can add chatters to chat on OnlyFans. It's something that I recommend doing. And within Inflow, it will categorize the amount of money that each chatter has made, and you'll be able to see that in the report section. However, it's very important that you also have like an Excel sheet built out to do this as well. And it's something that we've found is really important and boosts results dramatically because the chatters actually have to put in the sales that they're generated. So each day they're going to be seeing how much money they made, and they're going to be putting it in, seeing whether they're hitting the goals or whether they're going down. And it's just good because you need to make sure they stay on top of it and they don't get complacent, because they may be making lots of money inside the account, but you want to make sure they still strive to make more money and they strive to keep on improving the numbers month after month. So how to manage the chatters. So the first thing I want to talk about is chatting mindset. Now, for this, I'm going to use Jordan Belfort's straight line selling system. If you don't know who Jordan Belfort is, he's the guy from Wolf of Wall Street. Very unethical, but he's very good at sales. So we can still take some value from him when it comes to selling. And we can apply this value of selling skills to the chatting, because essentially the role of a chatter is to sell content to subscribers, okay? So I'm just going to draw out what the straight line selling system actually is. I'm just going to give you a quick, 2-minute synopsis of what his whole system is. So over here, you have the touch point to launch the sale, okay? So within the context of OnlyFans chatting, this could be considered the initial message being sent to a subscriber, just initiating a conversation. Now, in order to make a sale, you can't just initiate a conversation and sell content. You can't just straight away go ahead and sell content to them. You need to nurture them through the process and get them to the point where they go here and they purchase content. And we just want to keep on rinse and repeating this process for all of the subscribers. And when a subscriber does purchase, we want to rinse and repeat this process again. Okay, so we have built out sects and scripts to do this process for us and to make sure that the chatter is moving along the line to get to the sale. Now, over this line here, there are touch points. So you have touch point 1, touch point 2, touch point 3, and they're essentially touch points that further develop the chance of getting a sale. Okay, so in order to get a sale, you will need to start the DM. This is one touch point. And then beyond that, you'll need to go ahead and build some rapport with the subscriber, or just get them steer the conversation to a sexual conversation. That's touch point 1 here. You then have touch point 2, which could be mentioning the models wearing a particular outfit, or the model's in a particular place, like she's just got back from the gym, or she's about to go on a night out, or different examples. Just setting the frame here so the chatter knows that if they want to buy content, that they're going to be able to do so. And then the next step, which is getting the chatter excited around the content. And then once you've gone through these touch points, there's numerous touch points. Once you've gone through these touch points, you'll then be able to get to the sale. Now, lots of chatters, when I explain this to them on the training calls that we have, they sometimes think that it should just be a straight line, but they're just going from one touch point to the next touch point to the next touch point and then a sale. But that is not the truth, okay? What actually happens is, let's say you start a conversation, the conversation deviates a little bit, and then you go back to the point where you're then bringing it to a sexual conversation, and then again it deviates a little bit here, and then it goes back, and here we have the next touch point, which is telling them that the model's ready to sell content, or that she's in a particular setting or a particular environment where she's able to send content and the model's horny. And then we have the next touch point, which is getting the chatter horny. And then we have the next touch point, which is the sale. Okay, so it's most of the time the DMs take place are never literally just one touch point to the next touch point to the next touch point to the next touch point. They kind of deviate. And the sales scripts that we have are designed to go from, or the sexton scripts that we have are designed to go through these touch points. But the sexton script may not be enough by itself, because it may deviate, and it's okay if it deviates. You just want to make sure you bring it back. And what you don't want is you don't want to be going through this process and then it just deviates, and you haven't even mentioned the process of, you haven't even turned it into a sexual conversation, and it just keeps on deviating, and it just never gets to the next touch point, which is to turn it into a sexual conversation. And if you're literally just trying to sell here, where you haven't even had a sexual conversation, you've literally just asked them how their day is and you've sent them a bit of content, you're not going to make the sale. And even if you go through this process here, you get to a sexual conversation, and then you just go through the point here where you just try and sell them content, it's just going to look like you're selling them pre-made content. They don't know that the model's in a particular setting. They haven't built the picture in their head. They haven't built the fantasy out. And you just try and sell them here. You're not going to generate the sale. So you need to go through these touch points in order to make the sale. Now, I apologize for this drawing. I failed. Well, we didn't do art class. We just did it in like preschool. And I didn't do very well in it. So I'm pretty sure you can see here. So I'm not the best drawer. But you get the picture, okay? So next, I want to talk about setting expectations, which is something that is crucial. And I see so many people get this wrong. And it really frustrates me, because once you understand it, it's something that you're not going to get wrong again. And you're going to be able to build systems around it, which is what we did. So we have systems around setting expectations. So we know exactly how to set the expectations. We know how to properly onboard them. So the chatter is ready to go with the right expectations in place. So as I said, it's crucial to set clear expectations regarding their responsibilities, the performance metrics, and professionalism. You don't want them being unprofessional and ruining the model's reputation. You don't want them not properly tracking the performance metrics or not understanding what performance metric they need to optimize for. And you don't want them not understanding their responsibilities. And they should understand that the main goal is maximizing revenue through strategic engagement and high value conversations. So expectations around response time, around tone, script adherence, daily sales targets should be clearly defined. And setting these standards early prevents misunderstandings and ensures that you have smooth operations. So here are some signs that you haven't set clear expectations. So if you experienced any of these problems, then it's an issue with your setting of expectations, okay? Either you don't understand the process, you don't really understand how to set expectations, and this is what you're going to experience. So they may not be completing reporting daily, okay? If they're not completing the reporting daily, then you haven't set the expectations. You should make it clear, look, you are expected to do this reporting daily, or you're not going to have a job here. Just like any other job would. Very simple. You need to do X, Y, and Z if you want to stay working here. And then talking to you about promotion. This is something that I've heard quite a few times, is that a chatter has been talking to the agency owner, and the agency owner has been asking me questions like, the chatter's saying there's not enough subscribers in the account. That's not the chatter's responsibility. It doesn't matter about the subscribers you've got in the account. I don't care if you're managing a model who's got 20 subscribers in the account. The chatter can still generate money and can still optimize for the performance metric of at least $1 turning into $5 in subscriptions and aiming even higher for that. So that's the chatter's role and responsibility. They're not concerned with the overall account itself. They're not concerned with promotion. That's not their responsibility. They're not in your promotional team. They're a chatter. Their job is to optimize for the amount of money being made. Okay, so again, if the chatter's talking to you about promotion or the amount of subscribers, you haven't set expectations clearly and not utilizing content. So not properly utilizing the content that's been sent over to them, not properly posting it in places. This is something I hear lots of models complaining about when we are talking to them and getting them to join our agency, is that they say the previous agency just didn't utilize their content. Again, this just comes from the poor chatting expectations. They're not properly utilizing the content that comes through, and they're going about it their own way on how to utilize their content, and you don't want them doing their own thing. You want them sticking to a system that works. And then not using sales scripts. Sorry, it should be a not. Not using sales scripts. They just kind of freeball it, go their own way, just kind of do what they want, sending messages, not actually using the sales scripts that are in place. Again, that's not what you want. The sales scripts have been built, designed to convert, and have been designed to make sure that you can handle the account at scale and to effectively sell content. These sales scripts have been tested, so they should be utilizing proven sales scripts. Then you have proactive training. Okay, so rather than waiting for mistakes to happen, you want to make sure that you're fixing them before the mistake even happens, and that's what proactive training is. Okay, uh, so you have proactive versus reactive. Proactive is dealing with potential mistakes that you can foresee and correcting them in advance before it even becomes a mistake. And then reactive is when a mistake happens, doing damage control and trying to fix the mistake and then make sure it doesn't happen again. Still, you want to be making sure that you're being proactive. So, regularly reviewing the transcripts of conversations to spot areas of improvements. Especially if you're working with a new chat, you want to be making sure that you're monitoring this daily. You want to be hopping on, every couple of hours to just make sure that the chats are going, running smoothly and happening in the good chats that are taking place. You want to be teaching the chatters about bias psychology and common objections before they encounter them. You want to be hosting weekly skill refreshers where chatters role play different sales scenarios. And then you want to be encouraging self-assessment so chatters can recognize where they need improvement before the performance ultimately dips. Okay. So by taking a proactive approach, we ensure consistent results and prevent costly mistakes before they occur. So if a chatter is steering the conversation into a direction that the OnlyFans community guidelines don't allow, that's a big mistake that could happen. That could ruin your agency's reputation and could ruin the OnlyFans model's earnings. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're doing your due diligence and making sure that if you're seeing the chatter potentially being very flexible with the community guidelines, that you're addressing this early before an issue gets brought up and then you're having to explain it to the model. And that's just one example out of lots of examples. So being very proactive is super important. Then we have behavior training. Okay. So here on the screen, I've got a study on dogs. And what this study found is that the longer you wait to reward or correct a behavior, the less likely the subject is to learn. And the same can apply to chatters. So we're all animals at the end of the day. We have brains and the brains function in a similar way. Ours are just more advanced than dogs, but still it functions in a very similar way. And dogs are just basically the primitive brain, so we can see how this works when it comes to psychology. And here is the study. So if you ask for the dog to sit, and then instantly after they sit, you give them a treat, and they do the behavior. And so you give the dog the reward immediately after seeing the behavior, then they learn the behavior so much quicker. Okay, literally 10 repetitions for them to learn. If you reward them after 10 seconds, so they sit, you wait 10 seconds, then you give them a reward, they eventually do learn it, but it takes a little bit longer, maybe around about 30 repetitions. And then if you wait 1 minute plus to reward the behavior, then they never learn the behavior because there's so many different things that happen in it. They're just constantly going to be thinking of something else. They're just never going to learn. Okay. So as you can see, the rewards timing is super important to get the desired behavior that you're looking for. And we can apply this chatter. So if a chatter makes a mistake or has a performance gap, we don't wait weeks to address it. Instead, we provide immediate feedback and correct it on the spot. So if a chatter handles an objection incorrectly, we immediately review it and then we role play with the chatter on how to handle it properly. We don't just point it out and say, oh, this was wrong. We go ahead, we hop on a call with them and we go through the process, maybe give some examples of different sort of DMs, which are a similar sort of situation. And once they're proficient on dealing with that, we go through 10 repetitions with them. Once they're proficient on dealing with that, then boom, that's ticked off. Okay, and then if someone isn't closing enough sales, we analyze their conversations and quickly tweak their approach. And then rapid feedback loops help chatters improve faster and develop the correct habits for maximizing revenue. Okay, all it is being experienced on how to deal with these chats and how to direct the conversation towards selling content. So the goal is to reinforce successful behavior quickly, ensuring they become a second nature. So now we have organization structure. Now, this is something that's really important and something that most business owners should be aware of. And it's that if you're bringing on a team member, whether it's a chatter or whether it's another person within the team, the same philosophy applies, is that you want to make sure that the people are expecting to or want to progress within your organization. You don't want to be training them and then maybe in a year they said they got other plans, they're going to go ahead and do that. You want people to invest in. And you can look at an employee or a chatter as an investment. You're investing your time, energy, and effort into them, into training them, into developing them, into making them a killer OnlyFans chatter. And you want to make sure that that investment pays dividends for the next 5 years for you. Okay, and the way you do that is by having a clear career path within the agency. So if they perform well and consistently generate strong revenue, they have the opportunity to be promoted to chatter manager, or they have the opportunity to get more pay. So we structure it as chatter manager, so they get higher pay, leadership responsibilities, and the ability to mentor and train new chatters. So we delegate the process, so I don't have to do it myself. They've been on enough calls with me training so they understand exactly what's expected from them, and then they can go ahead and relay that information to the next chatter that comes on. Okay, so this structure motivates chatters to improve their skills, take ownership of their performance, and stay committed to the agency long term. Now, this isn't always guaranteed. So if you have a top performing chatter, they're not always going to be a good manager. They may be a very good salesperson when it comes to DMing and selling sexual conversations. They may be really good at that, but they could be terrible at management. So you can have the career path for them, and maybe they don't want to progress up the career path, or maybe it's not right for them. But you want to make sure that there's some sort of organization structure that they can actually move up and develop and get a bigger role within the agency. And we have bi-weekly payments via PayPal. So this is personally what we compensate our chatters bi-weekly through PayPal, ensuring they are regularly paid for their work. And this is the payment cycle. So this payment cycle keeps the chatters financially motivated. It helps retain top performers who know they'll get a reliable payouts, and it aligns with industry standards to ensure we remain competitive. So if you pay a chatter a day late, that's an issue of trust there. An issue of whether they actually trust you to pay them for their work is going to creep up because it's taking longer and longer to get paid the money that they've generated. So you want to make sure you're consistent with it, and having that consistency and that consistent environment when they know they're going to be getting paid and the payment process is very clear and they can have those funds immediately. That process is just going to help keep them around because they're going to want to stick with the agency because they've got a reliable payment, which is supporting the living coming through. And they can then end up dedicating more time towards you and feel comfortable giving up other opportunities to instead stick with the agency and to just build with the agency. Okay, so having consistent payments is super important. And we personally bill our models bi-weekly. So we bill the model pays, and then we go ahead and we pay out the chatter from the earnings that we generate. And if your model's even a little bit late to pay, you want to make sure that you're paying the chatters anyway, okay? Because you want to make sure they are being rewarded for the work that they are doing, okay? And then you have commission incentives. So to further incentivize high performance, we offer commission-based bonuses tied directly to the revenue they generate. The more money they help bring in, the more they will earn. And this is the structure. So it aligns the interests of the chatter and the agency. So if they succeed, we all succeed. Again, they're motivated to work more hours. They're motivated to put in more effort. They're rewarded for the skill that they have. Rather than just the time they spend online. So they actually reward based on their competence. And then it also encourages chatters to be strategic, upsell more effectively, and build stronger rapport with fans because they want to make as much money as possible because they get commission. So I would personally pivot more towards paying out higher commission to chatters and having a very low base salary rather than having a high base salary and low commission opportunity, because instantly you just want to make sure that those incentives are aligned. They're aligned to work more, to work harder, to get better, because as a result, they get paid more by managing the account. They're motivated to grow the account to bigger heights. If an account's doing 50K a month, they want to get it to 60K a month, 70K a month, so they can be making thousands more every single month. And by structuring the pay with both base earnings and commission incentives, we create an environment where chatters are constantly striving to improve and generate the highest possible revenue. So that just about summarizes the OnlyFans chatting operations at our 7-figure agency. A very quick synopsis of what actually goes into this process. We have all the resources built out, all the training built out. So if you are looking to literally fast track your way to building a successful OnlyFans management agency, and you're serious about getting started with building this business and making this sort of money by managing, 4 or 5 model accounts who are making, $90,000 every few months, then great, book in a call down below and we can absolutely help you with that. And for the meantime, make sure you like, subscribe, comment down below what other videos that you'd like to see next. I'll try to get back to all of the comments that we receive. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.